Hey friends, Shay here. So today I'm here to talk to you a little bit about Stuff Your Kindle. In the summer, in July, I did a vlog where I read 6 of the titles from Stuff Your Kindle from that most recent round that I picked up. I'm going to leave that linked in the corner for you so you can kind of get my thoughts on some of the titles that I picked up from that one. But we're going to talk about Stuff Your Kindle in general in this video. So I have read a dozen of the ones that I have picked up over the last 2 rounds of Stuff Your Kindle. 9 of them I have finished all the way, like I've read them all the way through. 3 of them I DNF'd. And some of them later on I wish I would have DNF'd because they just ended up being middle of the road for me. But overall, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of Stuff Your Kindle. So on a budget, Stuff Your Kindle is perfect. It's a great way to get free ebooks. And if you're heavily a romance reader, this is a fantastic way to pick up a bunch of romances where you can try out new authors, try out new tropes, see how they work for you, all those kinds of things. So in a lot of ways, this is very positive for the community, and it's great for up-and-coming authors or ones that kind of fall through the cracks, because it gives them an opportunity to come to the forefront when us influencers end up picking up copies during Stuff Your Kindle. A bad thing is the list is getting huge now. This last round was 2,400 titles, and that's very hard to sift through so that you get things that you know you're going to enjoy. So when I am deciding what to pick up, a lot of the times I sit with a group of friends and it's like, okay, as we go through, do these hit tropes we like, do these not, and we'll kind of narrow the list more broadly and just kind of eliminate some that we know have tropes we don't like and keep the ones that we do. And then it's like, okay, from there we dive a little deeper, go into descriptions, and some of us are like, well, I'm going to try it out this time. Why don't you wait? I'll let you know if it's any good. And we do some things like that. So it's great because you can kind of form your own little community to kind of, with people that you read similarly with. This is great because then you can go and figure out new authors for all of you to try. And some of us have found some great ones. There's some fantastic authors that I love in that list. People like Evie Mitchell, Regine Abel, people outside of your own country. There's quite a few on there. Evie Mitchell's from Australia, and Regine Abel is a BIPOC author. They do have sections for BIPOC authors, for LGBTQ, if you're interested in those. And that will do like LGBTQ authors as well as LGBTQ titles. So even if they identify as queer, but the book might not necessarily be queer, you're still getting that representation in that way. And I believe they do one for like disability representation, which is fantastic. So it does give you a lot of options if you're looking for some very specific things. Otherwise, the list is very broad and there's a lot to sift through. So we, as the group of friends that have all uploaded this, they're all linked down below. They're some of my favorite humans on this planet. We tend to go through. Some of the titles will overlap, some of them won't. The ones that I read for this round, I did complete all 6 that I tried this round. So let's talk about those real quick. So one that I really ended up enjoying was called Lumber Snack. It's a little bit bonkers, a little bit cheesy. It's a Christmas holiday kind of romance, so it's the perfect time for it. Another one that I read was called An Alien Crush. This one's by Kala Z. This was just a really short 50-page, really sweet alien romance that I really got along with and really ended up enjoying. Then I read Love Flushed, which is the Evie Mitchell book. I've read Thunder Thighs by her as well. Absolutely love her stuff. Would 10 out of 10 recommend reading her. And then I've got The Fae's Bride by R.L. Medina, I believe. This was a really sweet one. This one was a little bit longer, a little more in the cozy fantasy category, but I really ended up enjoying this one. I thought it was really sweet. I do plan on picking up the next book in the series as well. This next one here is probably the one I wish I would have DNF'd, and that is Cowboys and Aliens by Demelza Carlton. This is just... There were some really uncomfortable moments in this one for me, so it didn't quite work. I do want to try this author again. I think it was just the set of tropes for this particular book didn't work for me. So that was that one. And then the other one I picked up from this one was one I had read previously, and that is Escaping Fate by Regine Abel, because I love her. I had checked this one out from KU. An opportunity to pick it up for free is never a bad thing when I already know I like it, and it's not necessarily adding to my TBR. So that's just kind of a quick roundup of the ones that I read during this most recent round. Again, I have a dedicated vlog to the one from the summer, so you can check that one out. I will briefly talk about the ones that I read. So the first one was Penalty Box by Chris Butler, Traded for Their Pleasure by L.V. Lane. I have since read another book in this series and really enjoyed it as well. And then I've got Claimed by Evangeline Anderson. Those are the three that I finished in that round. The three that I DNF'd was Before She Was Mine by Amelia Wilde, How to Rope a Wild Cowboy by Anya Summers, and Her Wild Coast Outlaw by Dakota Davies. They just didn't work for me at all. None of those three did. There were various things in each of them, but it was just not a good time for me. So I opted out of that one. So when you're reading as much as we do in a year as creators, something like Stuff Your Kindle is great, because this can be a very expensive hobby at times. But again, the list can be very daunting, and sometimes you end up with books that you end up hating or don't work for you. The plus side to that is you can just delete it. It's gone forever. You don't have to think about it ever again. But at the same time, for us, then we review it and we talk about it. I don't like to necessarily trash authors. It's not my thing. It's not my shtick. It's not my MO. I don't like to talk super negatively on this channel when I can avoid it. So a lot of times with those, I'll just DNF them. I just tell you that I DNF them and they didn't work for me and I move on. But there are some people who would go and tear these books to shreds. So that is kind of a negative. The other thing about this list is authors basically have to know somebody to even get on this list. So there are a lot of indie authors who don't get an opportunity to get on the list because they don't know anybody on the list at the time. So this is one where things can get a little hinky in that way. It's kind of like an exclusive club in a way, but at the same time, the list is huge. So it's not that exclusive. There's a part of me that wishes we could pare down the list a little bit, but I like that all the authors are getting exposure. So that's hard at the same time. So the biggest thing I'm going to tell you about Stuff Your Kindle is don't be afraid to take your time going through the list. The list is usually posted a few days before they actually go to their free price. Sometimes they're free early, so you can pick them up in that moment. And because they do these lists quarterly, I would honestly only pick up books that you think you're going to read in the next 3 to 4 months, because the list will come around again and there's a chance it might be on it again. Also, sometimes these are also on Kindle Unlimited, so look at that. If you're subscribed to Kindle Unlimited, you can always check it out through Kindle Unlimited a little bit later and maybe just only get 5 or 6 of the actual Stuff Your Kindle books until you try them. And if it comes around and it's an option again, you can always pick it up again. So with that said, those are kind of my thoughts on Stuff Your Kindle. If you're interested in seeing another vlog from me about Stuff Your Kindle, I'm happy to do that. I'm going to be very selective with what I'm picking up from here on out, because I picked up a few too many this last round. So with that said, thank you so much for checking out this video. Again, all of my friends that are also talking about Stuff Your Kindle today are linked down below. Definitely go give them a follow, a watch, a listen if you have not already. If you're one of my friends, you're probably one of their friends too. So with that said, that's all I have for you tonight. If you're here just because you love me, leave me a book stack emoji, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
It's been raining for days now, been running like a child. Can't feel the cold, well I'm lost here with you, lost in the woods. Lost as I should.